It's a common belief that in today's society, people are constantly driven by their desires and impulses, often without much thought or consideration for the consequences. From the latest fashion trends to material possessions, it seems like we are always chasing after something more that promises to bring us happiness and fulfillment. This never-ending pursuit of gratification can lead to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction, as we are constantly seeking external validation and pleasure. The way of the world is indeed the way of desire, but those who blindly follow this path may find themselves feeling lost and unfulfilled in the end. It's important to take a step back, reflect on our values and priorities, and make conscious choices that align with our true selves rather than simply following the crowd. Have you ever noticed how desire and craving can lead to so much unnecessary suffering? It's not that wanting things is inherently wrong or bad, but when we become attached to those desires and feel like our happiness depends on fulfilling them, that's when the trouble starts. By constantly chasing after things we think will make us happy, we end up feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied because nothing external can truly bring us lasting peace. Learning to let go of our attachment to these desires doesn't mean giving up on what we want in life, but rather finding a sense of contentment within ourselves regardless of whether those desires are met. When we can cultivate this sense of inner peace, we free ourselves from the roller coaster of highs and lows that come with constantly chasing after the next thing. So, eliminating desire and craving can be a tough nut to crack. I mean, we live in a world where everything is constantly bombarding us with messages telling us what we should want and need. But if you really want to kick those desires to the curb, you gotta start by identifying what triggers them. Maybe it's stress, boredom, or even certain people or situations that make you crave things you don't really need. Once you figure that out, try finding healthier ways to cope with those triggers, like meditation, exercise, or talking to a friend. And remember, it's all about baby steps. You're not gonna become a Zen master overnight, but with practice and patience, you can definitely start taming those cravings and living a more mindful life. You got this. While the idea of living a possessionless life may sound appealing in theory, it's not necessarily practical or sensible. Our belongings serve a purpose and hold sentimental value, making them an important part of our daily lives. From essentials like clothing and furniture to sentimental items like family heirlooms or photos, our possessions contribute to our sense of identity and provide us with comfort and stability. Additionally, possessions can be useful tools for personal growth and self-expression. By carefully curating our belongings and decluttering regularly, we can strike a balance between enjoying the things we own without becoming overwhelmed by unnecessary clutter. Instead of throwing away all our belongings, it's more beneficial to assess what brings value to our lives and make mindful decisions about what we choose to keep. If you want to break free from attachment, simply avoiding people and objects won't cut it. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world, it's about changing your mindset and approach towards attachment itself. Understanding that attachment is a natural part of being human, but learning to let go when necessary is key. Rather than running away from attachments, work on developing a healthy relationship with them. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness to recognize when attachments are becoming harmful or excessive. By cultivating a sense of inner security and taking steps towards emotional independence, you can gradually loosen the grip of attachment without isolating yourself from the joys and connections that come with relationships and possessions. It's all about finding balance and learning to navigate the complexities of human emotions without getting consumed by them. What brings you joy or satisfaction today might not have the same effect on you tomorrow. Life is constantly changing, and so are our feelings, desires, and needs. So, don't be too hard on yourself if something that used to make you happy doesn't do the trick anymore. It's all part of growing and evolving as a person. Instead, try to stay open-minded and be willing to explore new things that might bring you happiness in different ways. Who knows, you might discover a whole new passion or interest that you never knew existed. Just go with the flow and don't put too much pressure on yourself to always feel a certain way about something. Change is inevitable, after all. Have you ever noticed how rich people seem to always be chasing after the next big thing? Like, they get all excited about making more money and buying fancy stuff, but then after a while it's like they just hit a wall. It's called hedonic adaptation or neutralization. Basically, it means that no matter how much money you have, you eventually get used to it and it doesn't bring you the same level of pleasure anymore. So these rich folks keep trying to find new ways to feel good or satisfied, whether it's through philanthropy, traveling the world, or seeking out new experiences. But at the end of the day, even all their wealth can't guarantee lasting happiness. It's kinda crazy to think about, like having all that money and still feeling empty inside. So, you know how sometimes you might be having a great time, everything seems to be going your way, and you're feeling on top of the world? Well, unfortunately, life isn't all rainbows and sunshine. Eventually, something is bound to come along and put a damper on your parade. It could be a minor inconvenience or a major crisis that knocks you off your feet. And that's when the saying "after this pleasure pain will come" comes into play. Basically, it reminds us that after experiencing moments of joy and happiness, we should brace ourselves for some tough times ahead. It's all about balance. The ups and downs of life keep things interesting and help us grow as individuals. So yeah, enjoy the good times while they last because pain is just around the corner. If you're constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding discomfort, you may find it difficult to let go of pain when it inevitably arises. This attachment to pleasurable experiences can create a fear of facing and dealing with the inevitable challenges in life. When we are solely focused on seeking out pleasure, we may not have the emotional resilience or coping skills needed to navigate through pain when it comes our way. It's important to remember that pain is a natural part of life and can actually lead to growth and self-discovery. By learning to embrace both pleasure and pain, we can cultivate a deeper sense of acceptance and resilience that allows us to move through life's ups and downs with greater ease. So, don't be afraid to let go of your attachment to pleasure and embrace the full spectrum of human experience. In order to benefit of my next video, remember to hit the subscribe button.